Well, on paper, our first ever Premier League title defence appears to be going quite well, but the frustration is very much setting in because today we've got two tough games with just a 2 point advantage at the top. And although we've been winning recently, the frustration is the way we're playing. We've not been particularly consistent in performance, we've got players unhappy ahead of the January window, and with Chelsea and City the opponents in this one, I've got a feeling it might start to come crashing down. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 105 of Saving Southend with me, Daniel. It is a tense title race at the top of the Premier League with just 3 points separating us, Arsenal, and our second opponents today, Manchester City, and the likes of Liverpool and Chelsea and United, not a million miles behind looking to catch up. If you're looking forward to this one against Chelsea and City, as although we've been picking up results recently, we've not been playing that well, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. The good news is, after these two fixtures, we've got a slightly friendlier run of fixtures on paper. Swansea, a championship team in the FA Cup, and then Wolves and Hull in the Premier League, who are both having pretty average seasons. Let's go and start though by having a look at the two games we've played off camera and see what we can expect to get in terms of a performance today. And the answer is probably not that good, because you were with me as we won away at Newcastle in a game that we didn't really play that well in. We then lost 1-0 at home to Liverpool in a game that we possibly should have won. But in the last two games, we struggled with Brentford at home, relied on two very late goals to nick a victory against a side scrapping against relegation. It was Ivanov with a brace and Drew O'Day late with a third, but we had to bring on Ukulano, who set up both of those last two, and Kranjic, who was absolutely brilliant when he came on. Otherwise, it was a very tough day at the office with a rotated side. Hangover from that Liverpool game almost caught up with us. Then against Villa, a very similar story. Kranjic with a late goal to save the day. We went one down. I kid you not, that first 25 minutes against now Pep's Villa, we have never been battered more than that in any game in the history of this save. But Will's got the equaliser, just stemmed the tide, and late on we saved the day. Carr, Sanchez and Torres off the bench to shore things up. I still can't get a tune out of Ashley Carr, and it's a real worry for me. I'm giving him 1 year to settle. If it doesn't work next season, he might be the greatest player I can't get to perform. Looking ahead to next month, I mentioned that little run of easier games. I should mention then it's followed by Tottenham, Liverpool and two Champions League ones. But we're going to focus today on a big festive doubleheader. Despite what I've said about performances, despite the fact you look at our recent run of games, a lot of 1-0s, a lot of 2 and 3-1s with late goals. It's not been vintage stuff, but it wasn't last season either. And maybe that's what I need to accept, that if we're going to win these matches, we have to start grinding out victories. I look at the more positive side. If you take away that Newcastle game from the last episode, where we did win in the end by 4-2, we've not conceded more than one in a game in the last 2 months. And that's perhaps a positive we've got to focus on. But I would expect that to change today, given Chelsea and City's attacking records. We look at the table here. We are still 2 clear of Arsenal. We're 3 clear of City with a game less played. We're in the top 2 places in the Champions League group. And in the FA Cup, we've got a home game against Swansea. Yes, we've missed out massively in the Carabao Cup. But there are still opportunities. We have already won something this year in the Community Shield. And we're making a decent fist of our first title defence. It could be worse. We've also got our new right back coming in on the 1st of January. We met him in a summer episode, didn't we? We'll look at him again when he joins the club. But for now, if we head through the fixtures, if we have a look at what we've got today, we are going to go through the tactical meeting because City are away at Norwich, Arsenal are at home to Leeds. They should both be winning, let's be fair. Liverpool the same against Bristol City, and even United at home to Forest. They're all playing sides at the bottom, and this is where we might be caught up. We need a big home performance against Moukoko, against Neves, Caicedo, Lavia, Colwell still going, and a few quality new young players as well. This is a sold-out Steve Tilson Park for a very big game. And it's an important one because if we look at the festive fixtures, our first team played on Boxing Day, and look at the state of the fitness now. Do I rest the whole team today, play the first team against City, or do I try and get as many through this one as possible? It's a tough question, isn't it? Let's go and get our 11 pick to make a decision. I'm trying to tell myself the message in my head. Fitness over quality. Fitness over quality. It's worked so many times. Am I going to listen to myself? Let's go and find out. For this video, we're proudly partnered with HelloFresh. HelloFresh are on a mission to make your meal times easier with pre-portioned ingredients, quick and easy recipe cards, and plenty of treats we can get on board with too. Get 60% off your first box plus free dessert for life by clicking a link at the top of the description. Sounds good, doesn't it? I've tried it before, I'm a big fan of the brand and have helped with my weight loss this year too. There's healthy options available, so why not grab your discount and give HelloFresh a go from the description below. Well, despite there being a couple of key certain areas where I couldn't follow my advice, I generally have done. We've brought in a lot of players, particularly in that engine room in the midfield and at fullback where there is fitness, there is freshness, but there are some positions where I just couldn't do it. At centre-half, the only person without a heavy match load is Harrison Parker, who probably isn't good enough to play at this level. And up front, Ashley Carr's got a heavy match load and he's been awful. So I'm going to stick with Joe Wills and have Kranjic fit for the next one. So that means overall, we've gone for the following 11 with first choice Drew Sadler in goal. Memic and De Angelis are the first choice fullbacks. De Angelis can come off for Curly later if need be. Sanchez alongside O'Day at centre-half, who have both missed one game from the last 3. Herbert has played in 4 matches from the start, so he stays off the bench entirely. He's out of the squad, as is Bernberg. Branda and Yucalano both injured. In midfield, we've got Vasquez and Robertson the sub-wingers, Torres and Jimenez the central midfield too, and Ivanov and Wills the 2 up front. Just going to have a little go at Vasquez because I can see his form is really poor, and we're going to see if he'll get a response to that. You can tell it's the players that are unhappy. De Angelis has now signed a new deal. He's cheered up completely, but Vasquez is unhappy, Kranjic is unhappy, and it's affecting form, particularly in Vasquez's case. We've got a bench that's mixed with a couple of real fringe players in Takatsuka, in Parker, in Curly, albeit Takatsuka's a super sub, isn't he? And then we've got a few of the tired but big hitters in Kivrakidis, Adamson and Kranjic. So into the first of the 2 games we go. We hope fresh legs pay off, and then we should have most of the first team fit for City when we face them and a knackered City in 3 days' time. Well, here is the Chelsea team picked by Jordi Cruyff. Asensio is on the bench, our former player who moved there for 40 million. They've still got Datro Fofana, an original, on the bench as well. But overall, if we had our first 11 out and at full strength, I'd fancy us to beat them. The fact that we've not, and the fact that we don't know what physical state they're in, does make this a little bit difficult, especially given our recent form and a bit of unhappiness in the squad. I'd expect a slow start and maybe it'll be the late show again. It seems to be the case for us, conceding the first goal and then fighting back in the latter stages as we're on the front foot with Ivo Torres to Jimenez. Chance with a runner off him, but Jimenez goes alone, across the blocks, deflects back to Ivanov. Poor sentence, poor pronunciation, but a big goal from Teddy Ivanov. I was almost so stunned that we scored the first goal in the game. A quick start out the blocks, and the same for Norwich City, who are beating Manchester City in 3rd. United doing their job at home to Forest, but City losing, us winning. It's a fantastic start for the match day as Abdullahi's got a corner for Chelsea. Don't think this game is over. We have not been a first half team this year as Heinz puts one over the bar. We have made hard work of every match this month. We've just been so disjointed. We've not been playing well. Even things such as the basic passing game have gone awry. And as Chelsea come forward on the left-hand side again, we've got work to defend our lead as Ivanov wins the ball. I was so sure they were going to call for a penalty there, but it's forward to Robertson and now he can counter. Up to Joe Wills, it's flicked onto Jimenez. He's in one-on-one. He's not getting caught, but has he got the finish? Oh my God, it's a good save. It's not the best finish in the world, but it's very good goalkeeping. It's behind for a corner kick, which Luis Vasquez will take. Another one that's been spitting his toy out the pram due to a little bit of a negotiation over his contract going wrong. With 25 gone, Arsenal have won their game, City are back on terms, and Liverpool level as well. But at the moment, we're 1-0 up, and if we keep doing our job, our title defence will be in our hands, especially with City to come in 3 days. 5 minutes to the break, we've been second best in terms of most stats, but crucially, the higher goals scored and the higher expected goals. It's 1-0 to Southend United at half-time. And I'm not going to complain. By any means we can win this. I'm a happy man. I'm going to tell the lads to prove a point. Do not step off the gas. Show me what you've got. We're 5 minutes into the second half. We're having very little of the ball. And we've got a few people we've got to watch out for here. Wills is not going to be able to do 90 minutes. Jimenez is on a booking. I'm worried about Memic. I'm worried about Robertson. We've got to be careful here as Jimenez gets the ball in midfield to Memic and out to Robertson. Memic again in the right back area to Drew O'Day. And we keep possession here for Ivo Torres. And now Wills. Ball forward's not great. Ivanov is beaten to it by Levi Colwell. Almost called him Ruben there. As Colwell can play out from the back to Caicedo. Gives it away to Ivanov. Good pressure from the front. Robertson on the right. Not had a great game. What can he find here? It's a brilliant cross. Joe Will scores. The hand goes up from the referee. Not sure the flag was up though. It looked tight, but I think he was on. And it would allow us to make subs if this counts. It does. Goal awarded 2-0. Now is 65 on the clock. Memic will have to have a rest. I'm going to put Rakowski on the right. De Angelis probably the same, but I'm going to give him 5 more minutes. We're going to go Jimenez off for Kivrakidis. We're going to go Vasquez off for Adamson. And we're going to bring Ashley Carr on for Joe Wills, who's just scored. Protect him. Probably one of the few that will start against City. We'll give it another 5 or 10 and then we'll make the final sub. If I can, if it's still 2-0, I'll probably do De Angelis off and then maybe Curley on as the left back. I think that's the best option. So let's do that now. 72 gone. He's running out of steam. And at the moment, we're doing our job as well as we can. Again, if you look at the stats, if you look at the match highlights, if you look at what's been going on, it's not been a great performance. It's been the story of our month. You saw it against Newcastle. We've seen it the last 2 games. We aren't dominating games as Ashley Carr gets in. Can he finally score? Ashley Carr is a good save. It did deserve a good finish, but Ashley Carr can't score a goal to save his life. We've not been vintage in recent weeks, but we're getting the results just as we did in the last season at this stage. We were finding a way. And maybe I've got to accept that. Maybe I've got to accept we're not going to be a great footballing team now. But that's what we need to win trophies. As Adamson puts the cross in, it's a really poor one. And a Chelsea keeper can come and claim. Liverpool winning comfortably, as are the likes of United and Arsenal. Manchester City at the moment are the ones that may be dropping points. And they're picking up big injuries as well. For us, with 5 to go, it's been a pretty vintage day. In terms of result, at the very least. As Curley heads the corner away. Is it over yet? Caicedo shot blocked. Robertson will get there. We've got to score now. Jeez, you've got to score now. Robertson, oh, he's run into a blind alley. There's 5 on 2 in the middle. Where are you going? Robertson to the byline. Carr's there. Back to Rakowski. He shoots. He scores. How we made such hard work of that, I'll never know. But Rakowski gets his first of the season. Carr gets the assist. And it is Southend 3, Chelsea 0. A scoreline that wholeheartedly flatters us. But it is a win that keeps us on top in a title race. And it takes a little pressure off against City in 3 days, especially as it looks like they've dropped points as well. Back in a moment to face them at the Etihad, and we'll see how many of this 11 and our first 11 are fully fit. Well, the January transfer window is open in the Premier League, and let's see if we're being linked with anyone. We're not going to change our objectives because we will have a bad season at some point. We are being linked with Fernando Miguel, who is a 24-year-old Brazilian centre-half, who's not great, but one of the things I do like is we're being linked with a centre-half who at last is over 6 foot and good in the air. I can live with that. Then Jordan Evans is a young player from Wrexham, who's not great in terms of potential for our level. He's a good player, but he's not going to be good enough for us. Simple as that. If we have a look ahead to the fixtures, we've got Manchester City later today. Bit weird that they're expecting a draw, to be honest. I want to bring your attention to something from yesterday, though. Luis Vasquez won European Golden Boy for his performances this season. I'd go as far as to say, from the eligible players at our club, he wasn't even the best, let alone across the whole of Europe. For now, though, let's go and meet our new right back, who will be joining in just an hour's time. He might be needed in the squad today, because at the moment, fatigue is very much a factor. Well, here he is, Dominik Ivusic, and we're going to get one of our model citizens to go and welcome him at the club. If we have a look at his report, he has 1.5-star ability, but crucially, 4-star potential. He's got real appetite to improve. He's only rated League 2 level at the minute. Does seem a little bit harsh. Physically and mentally, he's very good. But you can see he's not ready yet. He might have to be on the bench today, though. Just looking a bit further up the page, Walsall have made a loan offer for Nussum, who we got in at the start of the year. He is improving, needs football. I'm going to give him the opportunity to play in the EFL. then going up to Young Player of the Month, Kranjic, 20-year-old. Why was he not European Golden Boy again? He certainly did better than Luis Vasquez. We've got a few hours to kick off though, and we've got more important things to worry about. So let's get away from the focus on award ceremonies and move it ahead to the Etihad Stadium. Well, a couple of things to point out as we return for fitness test time. Ivanov and Baranda both fit. Yukulano may be worth a risk. Don't forget, we've got lower league opposition in the cup and then a winnable home league game after. So anyone who gets risked today can probably have a couple of weeks off if we need it. We've also, though, got our performance reviews. And, of course, the board are very happy we're doing a great job. Support a C+. Top of the Premier League, one of the top teams in the Champions League, having won several competitions at the highest level. Do you remember where we were 13 years ago? Seriously, if you don't appreciate what I'm doing, I'll go somewhere else if you don't want me, because we're doing a really good job here and you should recognise that. Let's get through to the fixtures though, because this is a little bit different to what we had the other day. Not home bankers for all of our opponents, albeit Liverpool and Chelsea have got that. But look at the bottom, United v Arsenal. Someone is going to be dropping points. If it's Arsenal, that could be a real positive for us, couldn't it? Let's see if we can make it even better by getting a result away at Manchester City. Third v first, they've fallen away a bit. They can't overtake us because of that result on Saturday, but they can certainly do us some trouble. They're playing that box midfield again, Nuno's side, and they've got real quality. Haaland is finding his best form again at 35. There's still a few originals with some brilliant young players. But who's going to be fit? Let's pick the assistants 11. Let's go and tweak it. And we'll be back in a moment to run through ours. Well, here is the 11 we're slightly gambling on today because we've tried to reduce the match load in certain areas, but it's just not possible across the board. And I want to reward people who are playing well. Both strikers are the two that are the goal threats, and Ivanov's not fully fit, so it makes sense for them two to be together. Of course, Vasquez not happy on the left. Jimenez not in great form in the recent games. Kivrakidis did well off the bench, so I'm going to put him in from the start. And then at the back, we've gone as fully fit as possible. Herbert comes back in, but there's still a lot of heavy match loads. We know that most of these boys can have 2 games off after, so let's just ask them for one more push. From the last game, Sadler is still in, as are the fullbacks, Memic and De Angelis. Sanchez, though, moves over to the right of the 2 centre-halves to be joined by Lewis Herbert. Yukulano and Adamson are in on the wings, with Kivrakidis and Bernberg returning in centre mid. Then up front, Joe Wills, goal scorer against Chelsea, is joined by a fully fit Dion Kranjic. He's not happy, and he's throwing his toys out the pram. Let's hope that doesn't continue or spill over into his performance away at the Etihad. Well, interestingly, they've opted for 6 changes, and I'll be intrigued to see how that's affected their fatigue from the start. You can see players like Rico Lewis, Erling Haaland, Asprilla, Shirky in the number 10 roles, and then Gavadio at the back, Callum Doyle as well. On the bench, they've got quality operators, the likes of Inacio, the likes of Hato and Phil Foden, who still like their 20 minutes a game player off the bench at 35-36. If we go through the dressing room though, we're going to ask the boys to prove a point. Let's have a look at their fitness. They've got 4 players, including Haaland, who are not quite fully conditioned, and 2 or 3 on the bench that are the same. So, again, it becomes the same matter, doesn't it? They're starting the people like Haaland with the hope of, can we get a goal up in 20, 30, 40 minutes and then take him off at half time? That's what they're going for. We've got to stay in the game till that point and then produce the late show. He's scoring 1 a game. Don't be fooled. He's not declining too quickly. He's got a pretty good striker alongside him up front. So through the dressing room we go and into the first half. City are going to be a threat. They're back in the title race this year. But can we stop them with their fatigue and make sure we're in charge of the title race? Well, it's been an incredibly quiet start to the match. City just having the better of the stats, but no highlight seen until now as we give the ball away on the attack from a throw-in. Shirky will break away down the right-hand side, and we do know this formation is one of the few, particularly away from home, that we have trouble with. We've got to utilise wide areas, and we're trying to do so here with Adamson. Takes on his man, Joe Wills through. Is that not a foul? Really, is that not a foul? And if so, why on earth are we seeing that highlight? There's nothing key about that. Maybe this will be the moment that becomes key. Zanani playing out from the back. Gvardiol sandwiched in the middle there. Now the experienced senior citizen of this City defence. As Shirky looks for the through ball to Pablo. We do not want Haaland or Asprilla getting it in there. Having said that, Asprilla has put it over when it looked far easier to hit the target. Haaland is the man that we've got to avoid the chances falling to. He's been so strong this season. He's found his best again. He is fatigued. He's not going to do 90 as Adamson gets it on the left. Back to DeAngelis and up to Joe Wills. Chance to shoot from the edge, but he goes wide to Memic. Unselfish. Into Ukulano. He's a lot more selfish, and rightly so. 6th goal of the season for him. The gamble to start him pays off, and we go 1 up away at City. We've got to face them again in the Champions League in what might be a dead rubber in a few weeks. But it would be nice to put the psychological blow on them, albeit we've been by far the 2nd best team here. But again, I say what I said in the last game and the last episode. We've not been vintage, but we're winning. As Ukulano gets to the edge of the box, finds Dion Kranic. Is he onside? He is, but it's saved. Adamson across to Joe Wills. It's blocked. City's life very dangerous there in front of goal. But we're still on the attack with Memic's throw on the right to Kivrakidis. Got to look after him physically, but Jimenez fully fit on the bench if needed. As Ukulano breaks down that right again into Kranic, past Wills. How has no one got a touch on that? It's back in again. Oh my words. What has happened there? Peter Bernberg has floated it in almost as a pass there towards the front two. Everyone left it. The keeper dived out the way. What on earth has gone on there? I've got to watch this again. It comes out to Bernberg. He flicks it forward. Oh, who's gone for the touch there? The keeper's gone down. The centre-half's gone to clear it. And in the end, I don't know if they've both called and no one's taken charge. But it's gone straight through for 2-0. And that is an absolute gift in a game that we really needed one. And now, if they've got tired legs up there, it's the perfect time to be 2 up, though. They are on the attack to get one before the break. Kivrakidis does really well. Goes back to his keeper. Sadler, if he's got any common sense, will just play long. He goes wide to Memic, who's got space to run into. He finds Ukulano. Good turn of pace. What an absolute delight it is to have him back. Nearly swore. Into Joe Wills, who heads over. He makes such a difference on that right-hand side. We're only going to get an hour out of him. But my God, it's been a good hour so far. A goal and an assist for Ukulano. Bit generous for the second one to be called an assist, but still. 2-0 to Southend United and a perfect first 48 minutes as we return with a free kick in a dangerous position. No idea who's on it, to be honest. It is Peter Bernberg. Just over 25 yards out. Goes for the curler. Oh, it's a great save. I thought he'd found the top corner there. Corner kick. Looking at Kivrakidis. I'm looking at Ukulano. Wills is never doing 90. Will we get to bring on the likes of Curly against his former club? It's headed away from City by the corner. And it remains 2-0. Liverpool are winning. Newcastle, Tottenham, all of the big boys are. But it's United Arsenal later that we're going to be watching, hoping for a United favour. We've evened up the stats and we've got the 2-goal advantage. And we're trying to make the most of those gifts from earlier in the game. Kivrakidis will come off for Jimenez. On the right, Ukulano for Takat Zuka. And up front, Joe Wills will be replaced by Ashley Carr. A chance for him to finally get a run and get a goal. Not sure whether he'll take it, but we're going to give him the opportunity. There's 25 remaining. I mean, the lads don't look that happy given the result at the minute. And while it hasn't been a vintage display yet again, we've done enough. And we've had no threat on our goal. I presume, yeah, Foden's on for a spreeer. Has Haaland not gone off? I don't think he has. They're now down to 10 thanks to an injury. And I'm going to make some changes. Memic is going to be replaced by Rakowski again. And I'm going to take off Adamson on the left-hand side for Luis Vasquez. It's 8 minutes to go. It's a very good performance. And I think it's going to be a very good result. Manchester City 0, Southend 2. But we've got 7 added minutes as Ashley Carr goes for the shot. Just over the bar. A really good performance. A really good result. This is a good away day. Considering some of the displays we put in December, maybe January's going to be a bit nicer to us, I don't know. The only thing that will be better is if United beat Arsenal. As Rico Lewis puts the cross into Haaland. No clean sheet yet. No clean sheet at all. A slight blotch on the record today. Ramoso puts it in, but we're past the 7 minutes. Time should be up, and eventually it is. Manchester City 1, Southend United 2. And it's exactly what we've said in the post-match there. Not our best, but we got the result. Story of Southend's season. Let's go and see what happens in a late kickoff, and then we'll decide when we're going to be back. Well, the gap has remained at 5 points at the top of the table because United, thanks to two originals, including a head coach superstar in Florian Wirtz, have beaten Arsenal in the big New Year's Day fixture. That means we're 5 clear of them with a game in hand. We've got 6 clear of Liverpool, who were the closest last year. Manchester City now dropped to 8 away, with United and Chelsea further afield. So the perfect day for us, and a perfect few fixtures to follow it as well, as we face Swansea of the Championship, Hull and Wolves, who are both embroiled in a relegation battle. Wolves bottom of the table, in fact. But then come the more difficult fixtures again, the likes of Spurs and Liverpool in the league, Rangers and Manchester City in the Champions League. We're virtually through in that already, and probably in the top 8. So I think what we're going to do, I might do Spurs and Liverpool. I know it's a bit closer together. I'm expecting January to be quiet, and I'm looking at the groups of league fixtures we've got. Spurs and Liverpool then, United and Arsenal late February. I just feel like unless we get a massive FA Cup tie, they're the obvious 2 choices. So we'll stick with that plan for now, but it may change subject to the transfer window, an FA Cup draw, and whatever else happens in the league in the meantime. If you enjoyed this though, as we commanded our place at the top of the Premier League in our first ever title defence, then please do put a thumbs up on it. It's looking very good across the Premier League and Champions League. We've already won Sunning, of course, in a Community Shield, but the Carabao Cup, it will always be the one that got away this year. If you want to stay up to date with the rest of the season, see if any departures occur in January. There are a lot of players wanted, there are a few unhappy, and will money talk more to them than success? We'll find out in the next episode. If you want to stay up to date with it, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. In the meantime, though, we'll be back tomorrow with a big climax to the season in our first full year in the coach's head. We've had half a season at Willem to warm up, and now our first full season comes to a close. Make sure you come and check that one out. That playlist so far is up in the eye above, as is the link to the Twitch channel, where we're going to be doing regular watch-alongs from Euro 2024 starting on Saturday. We've put the schedule out. We're going to be doing a game virtually every day, having a chat, watching the football, playing some games and quizzes too. There's also a link up there to the football podcast for special interviews coming up over the next few weeks, and also a few championship managerial specials. But for now, thank you very much for watching, for being here as always, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple of days' time as we push on in the Premier League season, hoping to go back to back.